Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Student Event podcast of School of Business and Management. We have with us Mr. Swapnil Bhartiya, and my name is Devangi Jain.
My name is Aman Abdullah.
Sir, we would be asking you a few questions. Would you be comfortable in answering this?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So, sir, what's your take on this entrepreneurship journey which you started in the EdTech sector, and what are some insights you would like to give us?
I think it has been thrilling from the fact that we started from absolute zero in 2020 to making it today, shaping more than careers of 6,000 students. I think so this journey has been mixed of a lot of money at the same time, a lot of help that we have been able to touch many students' lives. One thing that I've realized from past few years of running ACEIPM is that EdTech is not just limited to just teaching, it's also about shaping their careers in different ways. Say the offline conversation that you have apart from academics. So somehow it has been changing for my career, personal career as well.
Sir, talking about your ACEIPM, and you have been majorly a brilliant student throughout your journey, and now you are teaching other students on how they can educate themselves and crack these competitive exams. So how would you say that your mindset set changed from going through from a student to an entrepreneur?
Firstly, I think as an entrepreneur, I have been instead learning more than as a student, because when I was a student, I was looking from the perspective. Instead, as an entrepreneur, I'm more looking from a student's perspective now, because the field that I am into, I need to realize that the consumer, or I would say my student in itself, is everything for me. So I am always looking for any service that I'm delivering or any content I'm creating. I have to look it from the perspective of a student itself. So many times, say even recording lectures, say making a simple YouTube video, say discussing with my team that what should be changed into my product, is always from a perspective of a student. Always think that what if I was preparing for this examination, and what is that XYZ extra I need to do, which would have, if these services were offered to me, it would have been very helpful. Yeah. So that kind of a mindset has been now more regarding student. So I think that has helped a lot as an entrepreneur. Apart from that, as an entrepreneur, one thing has changed is that you have to be a little bit managerial as well. When I was a student, I had just responsibilities of my current education, but as an entrepreneur, I have responsibilities of my entire team. I need to make sure that everyone is delivering on their side. So let's say if you have faculties, let's say if we have mentors, let's say if we have doubt solving faculties. Everyone need to do their roles in their best possible manner. Then only the entire firm could work. There is no one set solution that if I only work, then only the firm will work. So that's the second thing that is happening.
So sir, I had a quick analysis of your answers. So, what do you think? You are an entrepreneur now, and you are managing your team. So how difficult has it been to deal with a middle level management, as we study in these classrooms that there is a specific middle level management from the top level management, and you being a young person on the team, heading it, has that mindset, has that change really been difficult for you, or how have you combated it?
So actually, it was a challenging side for me, given my age as well. The people that I'm currently working with are much older than me. So in the initial year, I used to be very much flexible. I used to just tell them, sir, you have to do this XYZ work, and I used to be very much flexible into that side. But at the same time, I need to ensure that they are doing the work as well. So I realized that I need to find that balance where I could make them do the work. Shouldn't be too much flexible. I shouldn't be too much harsh with them. I shouldn't pressurize the team you're working with, right? So I found that middle spot by conversing with them the way I think is better, because I don't need to treat them some as my employees. I used to talk to them. Okay, sir. For example, let's say if I want to tell my faculty, for maths faculty, sir, you have to record these XYZ lectures, and now I don't have to demean them. I just tell them in the sense that, sir, if you do this as well, let's say if you record this XYZ lecture in this sense also, that could also add a lot of value to it. So in that sense, a faculty is treating you, okay, he's giving me an advice, not trying to demean my methodology, but at the same time, they implement it gradually. So being that flexibility has given me much more output than being harsh or than being too flexible. So I think that's much more
more of a socialist mindset.
Yes, exactly.
You talked about that the journey is more about money. So, what is your take? Like, there are some loss-making companies in the tech sector, and like many are like Byju's, Physics Wala. So, what are some of the things which sets you apart from those companies?
I think not every industry is currently loss making. There are a good number of firms. Even Physics Wala, I personally feel that are in profit making. With Byju's, I think so. It's a specific case. My learning with Byju's specifically has been one of the most important is never, run too fast than you can actually aim for. Okay, that's why we even in the second year of our startup, me and one of my co-founders Saksham were discussing about having some people more on our cap table, having much more fund into our firm so that we can expand a little faster. But then we realized that it's better to have a little bit of mindful growth. That's what I think is from my perspective. That's my learning has been that if you go step by step and you keep a longer perspective with the growth side.
Profitability.
Yeah, even with the profitability side, if you rather than jumping into some sort of a solution, if you go in a gradual step, and many firms, I think loss making is not the difficult part. It's about the fact that are they carrying that vision from where they will turn from loss making to profit making. That's where that implement should happen, right? Problem with Byju's had been that they were focusing way too much without focusing on the content itself, right? Let's say if I'm able to have people like Messi or an entire cricket team to market our product, but my focus is not at the ground level, right? Then I'm gonna face difficulty. So that's what we have.
Scaling and
Yeah.
marketing.
So I think that goes hand in hand, right? You have to make sure that you're scaling. At the side by side, you're delivering what you're trying to scale, right? So that's what is done really good with, I think, so firms like Physics Wala. They do put a lot of effort into content quality, right? So that's something which is manageable by this firm. Then as a firm ourselves, I think so. Until till
That's
the time
the
we are,
USP.
yeah, till the time we are able to deliver what the students we are having, then we should focus on gaining extra extra.
So, coming to the personal life, sir, how has your lifestyle evolved since from being a student to being a mentor and to now the entrepreneur in the EdTech sector?
Personal life, not it has changed in terms of how I used to look at things. Like I used to get lot more time as a student. Given when you get into a startup, you literally get a little bit of extra responsibility. So the timeline has disturbed in terms of the time I used to give myself personally has reduced. But in a sense, the overall everyday feeling of talking to someone has been much more exciting. I think something that I has not when I started I didn't realize it, but has resonated with me is when a student I'm able to help someone, right? So I feel like that makes my day. So some or the other day, some student would write this message, okay, I watched your videos, I studied from you, and I never realized that, but I actually liked the fact that okay, I was able to have impact on that one student itself. That makes much better lifeline. So I'm personally longing for that more. So that's why even in the product itself said, okay, what can better be done? What can better be done? So that's how it has changed.
So talking about your personal life, like you said that first you went for JE Advanced, you went to IIT. Did you go to IIT Bombay?
Yeah, I actually went for mechanical engineering there.
Okay.
And then after 4 months, I left it
So
because
that was my question. Okay. How did your parents react to it? Like first going to an JE prep, then going to literally the best engineering college in the country, and then dropping out of it, then doing something else, and then now you are doing entrepreneurship. They might think that you are a bit confused and doing 10 things at a time.
I think that's very much right. My parents were confused as well as concerned that what is he doing with his life. Firstly, I had, JE prep is not an easy class. I myself have not done so well. I was having a mechanical branch, but the fact that it did take a lot of efforts from my end because 2 years, no social life, no family events, nothing. When you make it and then you give up is actually a quite contrasting decision. But when I made it to IIT, I realized that engineering is something that I wouldn't look forward to in my long term. This is another thing is the image that actually engineering professors, or that image has been created that engineering is the best. Once you crack IIT, your life is set. But actually, it's just the stepping stone of it. Right, so if I would have known the fact that okay, this is not going to be such a magnificent change, I wouldn't have even put that kind of an effort. So that effort to make sure I was putting that effort, that image was created, and then that image got broken down in that
That
college.
is the story of majority
Majority
startup.
Yeah. So then I stepped out of it. I was like, I don't think this is something that I wanna do throughout my life. And after coming out, that's in actually 2018 I joined IIT. After in 2019 I joined the IPM program. So I think the business side of things was making things more interesting for me. I wanted that perspective, though I did have a lot of introspection on the fact that I should just continue with my engineering and then go into an MBA or then go into it. But then I later realized, okay, why do I need to put myself through 4 years of core engineering then rather than I should go for a much more managerial role or managing education. That's when I decided to do IPM. My parents were not at all happy. My mother was totally against the decision. She was said, no, you're dumb, you don't know, you don't have any sort of reality life. I'm like, I'll manage it. Then she was like, ठीक है अब ये कर लिया है तो मान लेते हैं, because she knew that I'm little bit थोड़ा जिद्दी type है, तो she gave up very easily. But yeah, finally then she's quite happy. Even when I decided to drop out of IIM Rohtak during my BBA grad, again she had that trauma that what is happening with you? You're leaving one college, then you're joining another college, then you're leaving this college. So what is your plan? I'm like, okay, now my ACEIPM is working, right? You can see that. Then I hadn't planned, so I'm currently working on another startup with someone else. So I gave her a good idea about, okay, this is something that I'm going to look forward to. This is the project I'm currently working on. This is the project I'll be working on, and this is good. Don't worry. So she got certain amount of reassurance with the success of ACEIPM. So then it got easy.
How do you think that when you started ACEIPM, you must have gotten some feedback, and versus now the feedback you're getting for the same? How has it evolved?
It's a mix of things. So during starting days, I started with one of my batchmates, Saksham. So me and Saksham used to have these lot of queries around, so the problem with one of the majority problem that we faced during that timeline was that ये जो क्लास में आप पढ़ा रहे हैं ये पक्का रेलेवेंट है, क्योंकि जो फर्स्ट ईयर होता है ना, जब आप स्टार्ट करते हैं इन द फर्स्ट ईयर, पीपल डू हैव सॉर्ट ऑफ गुड अमाउंट ऑफ डाउट्स, आर दे एक्चुअली टीचिंग रेलेवेंट कंटेंट और नॉट, आर दे टॉकिंग अबाउट राइट थिंग्स और नॉट. So people used to look at both of us from a lot of doubt that are they delivering what they are talking about or not, right? Because unless you don't produce results, students are not going to believe you. So the first year was a lot about doubts.
No testimonials.
Yeah, no testimonials. So they were, is the credentiality actually correct? In the now later years, now when we are able to have good number of students into IIM's IPM programs, right? So now the doubt is about, they are right, I feel like they are producing result, but isn't that this is just too much? ये तो relevant नहीं है, ये तो अब ज़्यादा पढ़ा रहे हैं ये एग्जाम से, तो मतलब now at least have trust on us. So now they are thinking they are teaching right, but now they are making us do a lot of extra things, right? But then again, students are always have, hop and hop, they always have one thing extra always to ask for.
So my question would be more on the fun side. So can you tell us any one fun activity that you did during your maybe IIT time or IIM time?
A fun activity could be from my
Or a
college.
fun incident.
So that's what you guys can be a little motivated if you are preparing for IIMs or so IIMs have a residential course, right? So in the residential course you are living in the campus, you are having your hostel life. So one of the times, me with one of my batchmates, we started this water fight. So I think so those college days are just as fun as, because one thing that we have an idea कि our college is not pressurizing, but one thing we can expect is that ये जितना pressurizing मेरे लिए उतना सामने वाले के लिए भी, इसके लिए भी, तो सब पहले दुखी रहेंगे. For first few days you're gonna be upset in your college life, but then सबका दुख इतना ज़्यादा हो जाता है कि खत्म हो जाता है. Now it becomes to a saturation point. अब कि यार अब तो दुखी नहीं है, अब लाइफ में खुश रहना है, अब तो जो है इन्हीं के साथ दुखी में खुश रहते थे. तो उस वक्त हमारे जो प्रेशराइजिंग सिचुएशन तो हमने रैंडमली वाटर फाइट स्टार्ट करी थी, और हम इस हद तक वाटर फाइट करने लग गए थे कि लोगों की टी शर्ट फाड़ रहे थे और उनके ऊपर ठंडे पानी से हम गर्म पानी पे आ चुके थे. और एक पॉइंट था कि थर्ड फ्लोर पे कोई सर्फ का पानी मिला के एक दूसरे पे पानी फेंक रहा था, और हम लोग बस ठीक है भाई ज़्यादा हो रहा है, फिर छाग नहीं निकल रहा है शरीर से. तो दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स आई थिंक मोस्ट most fun part of my college life, and then there were other things as well.
So moving back to the point where you talked about how Byju's had scaled its product, its services to different sectors. Like it had targeted like class education, school education, competitive exams education, and had expanded into many fields. So don't you feel like instead of scaling too much and doing all the marketing, they should have realized that they need to do the product thing properly? And doesn't the faculty that taught in their classes play a major role in selling that product?
So now this is from a two perspective you have to look at. If I look at from a business perspective, it is basically required for you to have a scalability. Now what? Now again, I don't have that kind of an expertise to comment about a $1 billion firm. But what I feel is that's just my personal perspective. I mean, people can have different perspective about Byju's. But there has to be a blend of mindful growth, having that head target on the product, at the same time distribution as well. When you are scaling, are you making sure that each part, let's say what they had an acquisition spree of 7-8 firms all of a sudden, right? So are we making sure that each firm is adding that value into the firm? Right? They had an acquisition of Akash or Doubt. I think so those kind of firms are good. I think the longer perspective is good, but every step you're taking into any sort of an organization, you should look at from the perspective that is this at this point I'm adding that value that I require. Then only I think so it should add on to your vision, right? And then sometimes you think it from a perspective, okay, this is gonna help me, but it just goes out of my control, right? So that's where you have to slow things down, which is what I felt lagged in Byju, and which is what I felt differentiates between a firm like Physics Wala, right? So what I think can be appreciated about a firm like Physics Wala, or something that we also are following, is that we are first making sure that the main product we are offering should have that 100% efficiency. I should make sure that every student who is preparing for IPM, that's my first product, right? They should be satisfied with the product. Then only I have the credibility to go into an examination like CLAT or CUET. Or else imagine I'm into 7 products, now 7 examinations, doubt solving, 100 things, but the first thing that I started with, my USP, is not delivering quality that I should have delivered, right? So if you keep on focusing that every add-on from every stage of your career, every stage of a startup is making sure the quality is up to the mark, it will have a long-term sustainable growth in your firm as well.
So we are talking about profitability, and do you think there's anything which is left you still have to achieve, or you still want to achieve that in your life?
In terms of profitability, it's not any sort of like even when I started ACEIPM, we really didn't have sort of a money thing in our head. That's where I think it works better when you don't think from the money perspective, think from a bridge perspective. That if I'm able to fill this gap, if I'm able to impact these students' life, it will help me a lot more. That's the reason I think we were able to connect with students more. That led to a much more connectivity with the students, and that's what has helped us. In terms of, yes, I still look forward to scaling the product. I look forward to stepping into other examinations. We may not we are not heading towards a $1 billion idea, but we are heading towards something that let's see 5 years down the line we should be able to go into other products and able to increase our market share gradually, much more, as I mentioned, mindfully.
Conservatively.
Yes.
What would you give a quick guru mantra to the students who are
The management students we are having.
and who want to become entrepreneurs, or what should they do right now to complete their dream of entrepreneurship?
As an entrepreneur, one thing is you have to start. Something that we always like is you don't start, you don't even start on anything. So if possible, if you have any idea, if you have any sort of thing, just start working on it. Learn from a different stages of life. Someone who wants to start a YouTube channel always think that I'm going to produce the best video and then I'm going to make my YouTube channel. But it's better to actually make your first video, make it bad, learn from that, and then make another, make those progress. So it applies to any sort of product, because as I remember, YouTube or some firm was not even started with the idea that they are currently working on. So many firms start with something else, but later on realizes, okay, this is the bigger impact I can have. So start with anything you are having. As an entrepreneur, it's just important that you start today and have that discipline. if you don't give up, you can be, next day make $1 billion from $1 million.
Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you, sir, for your valuable